Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Jordan Things, where I'm Jordan and today we're going to be going through a journey of my modeling career. We're gonna learn the backstory of all of the good, the bad, and what the actual F was I doing in that pose. These are all of the magazines that I am in, and we're going to take a journey through each of my photos, starting with this is not me, but this is the first photo shoot that I ever did with a photographer called Mike. I mean, that's his name. Mike actually reached out to me on Instagram because I had posted my professional headshot that I had just gotten done, which looks great, by the way. But he thought I had potential for modeling. He wanted to discover me. So he booked a shoot with me. I had no idea what I was doing. I bought a few outfits. I was completely hungover to the shoot. Unprofessional on my part, but regardless, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, okay, I'll do this for him. It's not gonna turn into anything. I'm not good at this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Lo and behold, it turned into so much more. Once we got the back cover of this magazine, I was like, oh, maybe I actually do know what I'm doing. Like, these pictures look pretty cool. I like this. And yes, with these magazines, you can purchase a feature page or the front or back page. We did not purchase it. We got selected to be on the back cover, which is great. In addition to the feature section with all the photos. And I think they turned out really cool. I really like the photos from this first shoot. Mike gave amazing direction for someone who had zero concept of how to be a model, how to pose in front of a camera, or do anything with my face other than so that's where it all began. I love Mike. He's a great photographer. I worked with Mike exclusively for the first 3-4 months of my modeling career because I didn't know anybody else, and he was a good photographer. We really liked the pictures and the art we created together, which brings me to this magazine. This photo shoot, we drove all the way out to Salton Sea beach. I went with a stranger. I mean, I knew him, but yeah, he was a stranger still at this point. And we had this kind of dark, moody concept he was going for. He brought a gas mask. He brought a bunch of trash bags. I don't even black saran wrap. And this is the outfit we created. I love the way these photos turned out. And my favorite photo of all time is in this one because I still, to this day, I just think it's so artsy. I want to get this one printed and blown up and put on my wall just because I really like this photo. And I feel like this is an ad campaign for the pants or the shoes. That's where I was kind of going with this. How can this be posed into a modeling career? This is where I started to think of myself as becoming a model. I could do this. I could really do this. Which brings me to a beach shoot. Now, if you know anything about the modeling industry, you don't do beach shoots in the summer when it's warm. You do them in January when it's freezing cold. And I already don't like the cold. This was a big challenge for me because I was so resistant to getting into that water, but you know what? I did it and we got some awesome shots. This first one, I was like, okay, cool. We don't have to get in the water. I don't even have to touch the water. I can just stay dry this whole time. Perfect. Amazing. And then we immediately lay down in the waves. And you can definitely see it on my face. I'm not comfortable. I'm not loving this. It's not great, but I did it. And then this next one where I am wearing the sweatshirt, you can't see it because it got edited out, but I slid down this rock all the way, and just had a huge scrape on my bum. It hurt for a couple days, but you know what? We got the photo. That's all that matters. After my 3 shoots with Mike, he introduced me to a meetup group where I met some new photographers. They're all starting out and developing their careers. We're all networking, meeting new people, trying to do new shoots. That's actually where I met Ashley and Jeff, which are my 2 favorite photographers to date. Mike is still one of my favorite photographers, don't get me wrong, but he is less available and is still holding hostage photos of a shoot we did. That was a really cool shoot. I want those photos, Mike. Ashley and I met and we did a shoot in the grass. Ashley is a very artsy photographer. You can see the difference of her style and Mike's style. And we did these mirror shoots, which was so much fun to work with, but definitely tricky because the angles have to be right. The lighting and the reflection, everything has to be considered, and the photographer can't be in the photo. So it took a lot of time to set these up, to get the angle right, to sit in one pose, like minorly adjust things so that your shoulders are like pointed the right way, the angles are pointed the right way, but I really like how dreamy these look. And I really like that skirt. After that, I met Jeff, and we're gonna have to censor some of these images because the ones I did with Jeff are a boudoir series. And this is where I started getting into like where I was really good at honing my modeling skills. And you probably have not seen a lot of my work because I've done a lot of boudoir work with clients. So this is where we get into the juicy stories. So when you're working with a new photographer, you usually do a test shoot first. And this is something where you are fully clothed. You're just getting a style of how to work with each other. No matter what kind of photographer they are, you always want to do a test shoot beforehand. Get a feel, get comfortable working together in your professional relationship. And it is a red flag to any prospective models out there if you get with a photographer for the first time and they want to do full nude, or they tell you take your shirt off, take your bra. No, test shoots, if you request one and they deny it, that is a huge red flag, and be wary. You're allowed to say no. And you're allowed to set your boundaries with what you're willing to do in your modeling career. Now, Jeff and I did some test shoots and I loved what came out of it. It turned out way better than expected. We worked really well together. We were on the same page. We vibed in how we communicated. So we went into a paint shoot. This was intense. I had never worked with paint before. This is the first time I was doing a body art style photo shoot, which means I was essentially nude except for the paint on my body. And again, not everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love the photos we got out of this because they are so artistic. They are so stunning. Jeff's style, you can see, is different than both Mike and Ashley's. It is a completely different style of art, and I love these photos so much. All of this is still before I went to model camp. I actually have 2 of these photos blown up and hung up in my house because I just love them so much, and the beauty behind them is absolutely gorgeous. I love the concept. I love the artistic representation of them. I just think they look so sexy and cool and stunning in a unique, non-traditional sexy way, which is another reason I love working with Jeff. The next photo shoot I did, this was right before lockdown, and this is when I started working with a makeup artist on set and a photographer and an assistant. There were people there doing things. This set was so much fun and so different than anything I'd ever done before because I was wearing a wig and a full costume that I wasn't really familiar with or as comfortable as some of the other shoots that I had done. But the way these photos turned out and the way the makeup looked, it was like this futuristic, alienistic style, awesome, gorgeous shoot. I've actually done a few photos with this photographer, and we did a mock wedding, like a pretend wedding photo shoot to promote her wedding photography so that she could start to get practice for booking engagement shoots or wedding shoots. This is when I started researching angles and how to pose and different faces I was trying. You can see I'm doing some different expressions. I'm introducing some more kind of fun nature into these and experimenting with how I was showing up in front of the camera. And I think that really shows through here. This building is actually in La Jolla. It's the library, and it's an incredible architecture. And I know a lot of people do photo shoots there, and it's really cool. And she actually introduced me to this spot, which is awesome. Ooh, okay, pause. Model camp. I have to go to my iPad for the rest of my portfolio because a lot of my photos are just in here. Was building my portfolio deck. I did a bunch of shoots that year with Ashley and with Jeff. We went out to the Glamis sand dunes and got some really incredible, stunning photos. I think we wanted to be there by sunrise at like 5:30, and it took an hour and a half to get there. So we woke up at the butt crack of dawn, and we all carpooled and we drove down there, and we're like slightly sleep deprived, but we did it, and we got some incredible shots. And I had found this giant skirt from the swap meet that was unfinished. It had pins everywhere, but it was like a fashion student's project that didn't get finished or something like that. Like, it was this gorgeous trailing gown. It was so much fun to wear, so stunning in the pictures, and my cat peed on it afterwards, so I couldn't sell it like I planned to, but the photos are gorgeous regardless. Then we went to model camp, and let me tell you, did that experience change how I did everything. You will see a very distinct difference between before model camp Jordan photos and after model camp Jordan photos, because did I learn everything? Absolutely fantastic. I learned not only how to pose in front of the camera, how to bring energy, how to create a persona in front of the camera, but how to say no to photographers and how to stand up for myself in what I was willing to do. And a lot of the experience I had before that got me in some situations with photographers where I felt very uncomfortable. I had a photographer that I did a ghost shoot with, just a fun, entertaining, spooky photo shoot for Halloween. And another photographer that I knew well, he made a very rude comment saying, "Oh, I only would have done that shoot with her if she wasn't wearing anything underneath." And this blew up into a whole thing, because not only was he a photographer in the community that we were building, but how misogynistic do you have to be to say something like that? I had shot with him before, and he made me feel uncomfortable in a few of the situations to where I had to like cut the shoot short and bail out in a kind of like dodgy way. And after that comment, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, but there are so many photographers out there that think they are entitled to shoot what they want of women's bodies. And it's just like, after model camp, I realized that's completely unacceptable. And although I do those shoots with Jeff, who I feel comfortable with, I don't have to do them with everyone. And just because people see that I do them doesn't mean that they're entitled to shoot with me like that in that capacity. So amazing things that I learned at Coco Rocha Model Camp, and the confidence I got after, immaculate, insane, different level. Pre and post Model Camp Jordan, two different people. So now let's look at some of the photos from Model Camp, because these were completely out of my comfort zone. It was something I had never done before. I was on set with Coco and she was telling me in the moment how to pose. She was using a leaf blower on me. It was like moving parts and giant cameras flashing and someone there touching up your hair, making sure your makeup's on point. Did you smear your lipstick? You got the photographer up here, down here, over here, and then Coco giving you instruction. It all happens in a matter of 3 minutes and you're done. On to the next thing. That was an incredible experience. And then from there, I really got this confidence about me that I could try different things. I could get in weird poses. And this is my favorite photo that I took after model camp. It is wearing the, I'm gonna pronounce this name wrong, Boudoir dress. It makes you feel so sexy and empowering wearing it. And I was taking my normal like set of like sitting down, trying to figure out how to pose, you know, and then I was like, you know what if I just get upside down? What if I just turn into a noodle? And boom, this one happened. And I love it. And it's still one of my favorites. Then from there, we go back to working with Mike in Jeff's studio. We did a movement, and this one was actually styled by one of my friends. I took a lot of the concepts that I learned from model camp about how to move in photos, how to capture the right pose, because you can't just do it a couple times. You have to do it like 10, 15 times, the same thing. If you're jumping 20 times. If you're throwing your leg up, you're throwing your leg up 20 times, and trying to get it in a way where all of your angles are facing the camera the right way, trying to make sure your feet are pointed and your knee doesn't look weird bent, or your like faces, all of the components gotta be there. So this shoot was exhausting. I was so tired after it because of how much movement we were doing in all of it, but it was fantastic and I loved it. This was a great one for sure. The last one that I want to share with you is this one from a boutique lingerie company called, I don't actually know what it's called. I'll put the name up here somewhere. But they actually use these photos in a national campaign and just recently resurfaced them in their ads and tagged me again. So this was one of the big things for me that I was like, all right, I've done it. Brands want to work with me. Brands like what I produce. And we started making more video content around the photo shoots that we were doing. And this launched us into this secondary category, which now you see here on YouTube, of being able to create more than just still images and really working with that social media aspect of what brands want and being a UGC content creator. UGC stands for user generated content, and brands can use user generated content on their individual pages when they need to publish things. This is usually in the type of review video, how-tos, your experience with things, or just a general appreciation of the product that they are creating. These don't normally look like normal stock photography pictures. They're a little more raw, but we decided to go the artsy route and create an entire scene for this pink set that was concocted out of me and Jeff's brain. We were sitting there like, what if we were in a daydream and it was like clouds? And we were like, yeah, what if we were laying on the ground and you were like sifting through all of these clouds? And then Jeff tried to figure out how to make the fog machine not just billow fog everywhere. And he found out that if he created this weird attachment and put ice all around inside this long tube, the fog would actually settle lower to the ground. You could see your face more, and then you could like pull your hand up and swirl some of the stuff, and you can see that in some of the videos that I have. But Jeff is the most creative person when it comes to set design and building that I know, and some of the stuff he's concocted is incredible. I have hundreds of more photos that I can share with you, and if you like this video, I can definitely go into more and future ones. You know, I post all of my photo shoots as videos now, and I absolutely love showing you the behind the scenes of what goes into making a photo, because it's so much more than anyone imagines. And I also love empowering people who feel like they don't think they can do it. They're too old, they don't have the right look, they don't have the confidence to get in front of the camera. You can. I didn't. When I was a teenager, I did not want to be in front of a camera. Up until I was 25, 26 years old, I refused to let anyone take a picture of me. I didn't like it. I would run away from cameras. And then I met Mike and I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's see what is gonna happen. And it completely changed my world. And now you see where I am now. Thank you so much for joining me on this discography journey of going through my modeling portfolio. If you have any questions about getting into modeling, finding a safe photographer, picking outfits for a shoot, anything like that, please leave me a comment below and I will answer it in my next video. What are you eating, Daisy? You couldn't have waited until I was done filming. I'm literally almost, okay. I will see you all next time. You silly goose. Eat your food.